And so then, how do you, if you put it in a physical way and you were a slave in another country, in a foreign country, and you were, you know, having to do all the work in that place, and they abused you and everything else, how would you get free? You'd have to break free. Now, do you have to feel guilty for being a slave? No, you were a slave. But when you woke up that you were a slave and you didn't have to be a slave, that you could be free, then you got to break out of that slavery. And Paul put it this way, become slave to righteousness. But in the reality is you're not going to be a slave to righteousness, you're going to be free. Because Christ is freedom. Right? I mean, he says in many ways, Paul talks about that, of being a bondservant or a slave to Christ. But the reality is, Christ said it was for freedom I set you free. So he's bringing you into freedom. But we don't understand that because we're slaves. We've always been slaves.
Yeah.
You're all slaves. Even now, you're a slave. You just don't know it.
That's half the battle. People don't know it.
No. You got to recognize you're a slave. And that was why I said we're a slave to the fear of punishment.
Yeah.
If I told you that Jesus was going to physically walk into this room in the next 2 minutes, that he told me he was coming here at 4:34, he was going to walk in this room. I want to know if anyone doesn't have fear of punishment. If you have fear of punishment, put your hand up. And you got to be brutally honest, because if you're not honest, you're lying to yourself.
I always fear
When Aaron runs, yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I want to show you something. What I'm going to do is, I'm pulling this spirit out into the middle of the room. This thing that you're enslaved to. I'm pulling it out into the middle of the room and shining a light on it. Right? So that you can see it. Because we want to have a funeral. If we're going to have a funeral, we're going to bury it. But if we bury it, you cannot pick it up again after the fact. You have to choose one or the other. God says, you know, I'm a jealous God. Right? I will not be mocked. You either got to choose or not. And sometimes that's what he does. He comes into our life in a certain area and he presses us. Paul talks about it being pressed on every side. We get pressed in. He said to Saul before he became Paul, it's hard for you to kick against the pricks, isn't it, Paul? That means I'm pressing you on every side. I'm bringing you to a reality. With me, just before I had the open vision, and I was in that place, I felt like each time I had the death experience was strike one, strike two. I remember this specifically, and I was really ticked off because I felt like I looked at my friends, they're all still getting high, everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you will go through this in your Christian walk. Every one of us. You can't hide from this and you won't be able to run. He was pressing me like Paul on every side. Strike one. And then I'd have another experience where I'm ODing on drugs. You know, and the devil's coming. Strike two. And I felt like, this isn't fair, man. Look at... And I already had the death experience on the road by this time. Look at these people. They're all getting high. They're doing their own thing. And you're not bugging them.
Yeah.
Why are you bugging me? Why'd you point me out in the crowd? What's the deal here, right? And he's pushing me, until I'm backed right into a corner here. Now I'll tell you what's pushing me into the corner. Love. That's what's forcing me to the corner. Is what we read this a few minutes ago in John chapter 1. It says that Jesus was unfailing love. His love never fails. He's unfailing faithfulness. He is never not faithful. He can't be unfaithful. It's not who he is. It's totally impossible for him to be unfaithful. Isn't that crazy? So this is who you're giving yourself to. So the completely faithful and unfailing love person was forcing me in a crowd, in the matrix of my mind, into a corner. Strike one, strike two, strike three. In my mind, I thought, if I go to strike three, he's going to kill me. It's finished. It's like, I'm giving you a chance, man. You want to listen? You see my perception of God? Do you want to listen to me? And then I go get away with it for a little while. Hey! I'm talking to you. You need to choose. This is what I thought, man. It's a scary place to be. Strike two. Oh my God. Why is nobody else getting picked on? I was freaking out. This is where I was. And then all of a sudden, strike three. What happens? Boom! He comes. Liquid love floods my soul. This is what he was doing, is he was apprehending me, and I didn't know who it was that was apprehending me, because my perception was religion. I did not know this God of love, of unfailing love. And so he apprehends me. I'm wrecked. I'm wrecked. I'm still here today, 30-some-5 years later, still wrecked, and can't get enough of him. So what I'm saying to you is, there's something blocking you from this unfailing love, and it's called fear of punishment. If he literally was coming in the next 2 minutes, and he could, by the way, he could just sneak up. He's like that, right? You got to be brutally honest with yourself, because it's the only way you get free. Until you're honest, you're only lying to you, because God already knows. You can't fake him out. You can't slip on your Sunday best for him, because he already sees through it. He don't even see your clothes. He only looks at your heart, right? He sees it, because he is love. And so, if we have fear of punishment, it's because you were like me. You were like me. I thought I was done. I'd been messing with God, and God was going to deal with me, right? You see? And we've been, the preachers, lots of preachers have been preaching this stuff, because they know the father of religion. They don't even know this God of unfailing love, because if they did, they would not preach that. They couldn't. Could they? So fear punishment. Let me ask again. Be honest. Do you have fear punishment? If God walked into the room right now, would you be afraid on any level that he is going to call you on something and deal with you?